Everybody, today I want to introduce you guys to Aiman. He is part of the experience. As I said before, this is going to be a look at different experiences of different people's life from different lenses. I think it's very important for us to start having deeper conversations about how your experience may have been being Moroccan born, but Spanish, being born in Spain, but to Moroccan parents. Sorry about that. And even people have asked me millions of questions about being black in these different spaces. Like I've lived in three different countries. I lived in London, Spain, now I live in Mexico. And I've heard the same thing over and over and over. How do they treat black people? So you were going to be number one because I wanted to get the perspective of someone that's much different than just a person that's traveling to a country, or you're a person that was born in this country, lived in this country your whole life. So, first, could you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself, just so people know who you are.
Well, hello, my name is Aiman. I'm 26 years old. And I'm living in Madrid, Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Right now I'm working and I do a lot of sports like MMA, boxing,
Mm-hmm.
jiu-jitsu. And yeah, that's a
Don't forget
short.
to tell the people you're a model. Tell them you're a model.
Okay, okay. I'm also a model in my free time.
Very good, very good. So when you think about your experience, do you think that your experience in any way has been any different than most people that were born, let's just be honest, white and born in Spain, and you, of course, brown, as we say, chocolate in Spain? How has that been for you growing up?
Growing up in Spain, being a black person, I think in the past when I was a child, it's, it was most difficult than right now
Mm-hmm.
because when I born, it's like 9/11. A lot of shit
Yeah,
happened
yeah.
here. So the people are being very racist
Mm-hmm.
with black people.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was a kid, I didn't know what happened, why the people look at me that this way, or what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I love my parents, but
Mm-hmm.
my parents didn't tell me about, okay, you are black in a white country.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be careful or be more direct with the people.
Okay.
And I think that is in the past. Right now, black people is trending topic.
Yeah,
Let's say that,
yeah,
and we are more in the day by day.
yeah.
The people us because we do everything sports, modeling, acting, and everything. And yeah, right now is more comfortable.
Would you say, which is very important, because I was just looking at a news article, and I wanted to get your opinion on this. And you see what happens in the states when it comes to black people, white people, the racism. Do you think? Do you think that your mother and your father were ever nervous about you being black in those countries, even though they didn't have that conversation with you?
I think yes. I think they tried when I was young
Mm-hmm.
avoid a few situations
Mm-hmm.
with black person, white person,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't explain me what's going on. So it's
Uh,
like, okay, man, you have to go this way.
yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
No, no explanations and nothing.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Because I know, like, that's why I want more of these type of conversations to start happening. I know me being black, being raised in America, I have a letter to this day from my mother before she died that explained, like, my biggest fear was you being a black man in America. And that's what she wrote me before she died. Like, this has always been my fear. This is something that scared me, every day, that you're a black man in this country. And I'll be honest, maybe my mom didn't specifically have a conversation with me, like
yeah,
your parents didn't have one with you. But I never really knew. I knew about racism. I knew how racism worked, but I never like full on had a racist interaction until I was older. Like when I was a kid, I don't think that I had a racist interaction with people, or maybe my mom just kept me away from white people so that I didn't have these interactions. Um, but I only could imagine if my mom saw me now, like living in different countries, be like, "What the hell are you doing?" But she'd be like, what?" So, but I
okay,
wish my mom was alive to show her that there are other countries that don't treat you that way, or at least you don't have to fear for someone doing something crazy to you and trying to take your life. So, that's one. Let's talk about school, because school for me and school for you were very, very different.
yeah.
You grew up in, I also did, but I had more black people in my life.
Yeah.
So, how was it being the black kid, in all white school? I'm pretty sure that they consider themselves white.
Yeah.
So,
All right, okay. When I was in the school, I think we were two or three black kids in my school
uh-huh.
because it's a Catholic school, so there's only white
Yeah.
people there. Teachers are white, only white. And it's for me, I was fun. I make friends, but it's difficult because it was difficult because sometimes I feel like I'm not in the right place
Yep.
because, for example, the other kids say something about my color
Mm-hmm.
of my skin or jokes, bad
About,
jokes about, oh, you are Moroccan, oh, you are poor, or
yeah.
oh, look at you, something like that.
Right.
And when I was young, it's like, okay, I don't give a fuck, but
Right.
because I didn't understand what happened, and it's like, okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But when I grow up and I was thinking about that, it's like, man, no, you know? So,
Do you think, like, I'll ask you that question at the end. I'll wait for that question at the end. But
okay.
okay, being in the school, you and your sister being the only black kids, um, did you ever feel directly any racism from the teachers? Did you feel that they treated you different?
Yeah,
They did.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Of course, I had a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what is right now with her, but the teacher, it's like she ignores me
All the time.
all the time in class. And when I was talking with my friend in the school in middle of the class,
Mm-hmm.
the teacher always say something bad about me,
Mm-hmm.
like you are always double in the class. I wanna expel you, something
Mm-hmm.
like that. The when happened with a white kid is different. It's like, oh, Joe, David, shut up, please.
Be
I'm in
quiet.
the middle of the class.
Uh
It's
huh.
like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think I had that. I had something like that when I was
yes,
in the. Her name. I remember her name. Her name was Mrs. Rose. Her name was Mrs. Rose. She looked like. I don't know if you know it. If you probably do. You know a lot about the culture. She looked like Miss Doubtfire.
yeah,
She looked like
okay,
Miss Doubtfire. She spoke like Miss Doubtfire, but she was just a skinny little white woman. And I was a quiet kid. Like my parents didn't really play that, going to school, being bad. And I remember she was always just like look at me like this. And I'd be like, why do you always like give me so much attitude? Like, but there's white kids in this school that you don't give attitude to. And at the time, I don't know if you know, in that time when I was in school, I was known as African booty scratcher. That was the joke because I was dark. So I was really dark. I was much darker than all the kids. My hands had two tone colors, and my lips were pink, and people would look at me like, "You're so dark. You're so dark," and I never knew what that meant. I was like, I don't know. Like, my dad's dark, my mom's dark. Like, I don't know. And I think a little bit of that was, my parents. I like to not. It's not a brag, but my dad is African. He's West African. My mother is American, but both of my parents are dark skinned. So I don't really have a lot of white blood in my body. Like most, Americans, if they're black, they have white. I don't have that much in me. I'm pretty sure down the line, maybe one of my grandmothers or something. But like my parents are dark. There was no when the time my mom and my dad met, there wasn't a such thing as like light skin, dark skin. My dad was like, I like all women, if they're dark skin, light skin, I don't care. I like him. He's like, I thought your mother was so beautiful. She was dark and beautiful. And I was like, okay, calm down. I don't want to hear that. But he was like, no, I'm being honest. Like, there wasn't a such thing as light skin, dark skin. So Miss Rose used to always treat me really bad. Like, really, really bad. She used to ignore me. Same thing. Ignore me. She did tell me she was going to expel me from school. But I think one thing, I'm pretty sure for you too, I was very smart. So she couldn't really, they would be like, you're saying he's a problem, but his grades are amazing. So how do you, and she would always just give me like really ugly looks. And I remember at the end of the year, how old would I have been? I would have been 12, 11 or 12. And I remember I told her, I think you're very racist. And she told me, I don't care what you think. And that was the end. That was the last day of school. Because I told her that. I said, I think you're a very racist woman. And she was like, I don't care what you think. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, I just want you to know, because none of the other kids are smart enough to probably tell you this. But I think you're a very racist woman. And I know maybe it did something to her, but it did, or it did. But it was kind of my first experience understanding that you can have a teacher in a school of black and white kids that doesn't like black kids at all, and she could be a teacher just for like one group of people, but not everybody. Yeah. So it was interesting. Let's talk about moving forward. When did you understand the beauty of being black? Tell me that.
Ooh, okay. I think when I was, 14,
Okay.
13 years old, and I discovered the world of the music in America.
Okay.
There's Drake, all of that.
Uh-huh.
I listened to Pac, Biggie, and I'm like, damn, they are so good than the white people, in my opinion.
Right.
In my opinion. About that, about music, about sports, like OPG, the Beckham, Shakur, I don't know, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and I think then the black people is not like the white people think, like these people or something like that. It's like the black people is kind of the excellent people in the world. So after that, I been more proud about being black.
Okay.
And after that, it's like more confidence about my color, my skin.
Nice.
The way to talk with the people, and
I just want to tell everybody real quick. He has a very nice shoe collection, and this is when we first met. This is how I knew he was really black. And I say this because when I first moved to Barcelona, I remember I was like you. Like, I had so many shoes. I went to the club in Barcelona, and I'm like, why the fuck is everybody's shoes dirty? I'm like, why are your shoes dirty? And they're like, why do you have on clean shoes? And I'm like, we're in the club. Like, I gotta be fresh. Like, I gotta make sure my stuff fresh. And there was a lot of things that I learned recently about you that just lets me know it's a cultural thing. It's just that that's who we are. Like when you say you would clean your shoes, make sure your shoes are clean, make sure things are fresh, make sure your haircut's fresh. That was me. One of my friends asked me recently, like, you take your shoes to go get them cleaned? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, like I definitely don't like dirty shoes. I clean all of my shoes. I
Yeah.
like I make sure everything looks good. Like everything needs to be like even when I put this shirt on today, I was like, all right, what am I gonna do? I don't wanna my hair's cut, but what do I want to do? I was like, oh, add a color to it, make it pop, things like that. And I think that's an indication of just. I mean, like you said, we are excellent people.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with what
Yeah.
you said that
That's
we are
it.
excellent people. Um, I want to say, you learned a lot earlier how beautiful black people were than me. You learned at 14. I don't think I learned how beautiful black people were until I was like 19 years old. Yep,
Okay.
19. There was a girl, I won't say her name, but every time that I saw her, she would tell me how like beautiful I was. She was like, "You're a beautiful black man." And I was like, "What?" Like relax, relax. And I remember um, trying to understand what that meant for somebody to think that I was beautiful. Like I was like, all I've ever heard in my life was African booty scratcher, you too dark, blue
Mm.
black, things like that. So I was like, I don't know, I don't know what that means, and she every time she saw me, because I would go to the barbershop to get my hair cut, and she was a stylist at the barbershop, and every time I walked in, she would be like, you are a beautiful man, and I would be like, oh, okay, like I was weird about it. And then I think I remember one day I like looked in the mirror and I was like, oh damn, you know. And I think I stopped chasing like this level of acceptance from white people at like 18,
Mm.
19, where I was like, oh damn, I do think we're beautiful, and I think maybe at 18, 19 also I start listening to more music, paying attention to Kobe, Bron, music artists, even from like Destiny's Child, B2K, all of these people
Yeah.
that I was like, oh damn, we have rhythm, we can dance, we can sing, we can paint, we can do everything, and learning the struggles of different people, and I was like, oh wow, it's like it's so many black people, like I think yeah, for a lot of people they think Americans only think about Americans. And for me,
Yes.
I was a nerd. I liked looking up different stuff. So I knew about Morocco before I even knew where Morocco was. I knew about Nigerians, Ghanaians, Tanzanians. Like I knew all about all these people, and I was like, these people are beautiful. Like I think one of the most beautiful people, Senegalese. From Senegal, I used to, because they look like me. Their skin is dark, and I was like, "Oh, damn!" Like they're beautiful people. And
Yeah.
I think that's when I start understanding that our beauty was more than what the world had led us to believe. And I was like, oh damn, like we're
Yes.
beautiful people. Which goes into my next question: dating.
Okay. Dating. Okay.
And I think this is a big topic for a lot of people because people want to hear about this. Let's be honest. Have you ever felt fetishized in Spain?
Mm, mm, mm. Before, when
Okay.
I was more young than now, no. It's
Okay.
like more normalized. But now,
Yeah.
these few years, yes.
Like, yeah.
But,
Yes.
but
Yes.
because I noticed it and I feel it because when you dating a girl,
Mm-hmm.
she's into you because your personality, your
Right.
characteristics, and whatever.
Right.
But when the girl looks at you like, damn, you're black, you are exotic thing here in Spain. It's not like the all white people here in Spain. You are different.
You're
And
different.
I would like to,
Experience it.
experience it. Yeah.
That's true. I agree. Do you think that there is a like going off that question? Do you think that there's a thin line between maybe you are exotic and maybe it's I ask this question because I want us to always think of things differently.
Yeah.
Maybe I always think about it like this. Maybe sometimes it's a fetish. Sometimes it's because you're black. I agree, 100%. But do you think that sometimes that maybe people have seen things on TV, music, introduced to certain things, and they're like, fuck, I live in Spain. There's no way that I can ever, And then you walk past and they're like, oh, wait. I do think someone told me something a long time ago, and it was very interesting. And this is why I think about it. One of my friends said that he said, what was his exact words? His exact words was, the most beautiful woman to me in the world would be an Arabic woman, like an Indian Arabic woman. And I was like, okay, I was like, okay. He's like, but how am I gonna date an Arabic woman if I don't live in an Arabic country? I was like, that's true. He was like, I do. He said, I find them so beautiful. I find the women so beautiful. He's like, I don't know why, but it's what grabs my attention. He's like, but I don't think that I could ever meet a woman like that because of where I live. And it was one of my friends here in Mexico. And I was like, yeah, you're not going to meet an Arabic woman in Mexico, So that's why I ask you, because I can feel when it's a fetish. I lived in Barcelona before. You live in Madrid. So I felt when it was fetish. Like I felt where I was like, you only want to talk to me because I'm black. Like there's nothing else that excites you other than I'm black. So my question to you would be, have you ever met a woman that you knew genuinely you were exotic in her eyes? She's like, oh, damn, he's beautiful. And then you met another woman where she only wanted to be. She's just like, I just want to have sex. That's it. Have you had those interactions?
Yeah, I found both of them because I don't know how to explain the difference, but
you feel it
when she talks with you and she looks at you the different way.
Yeah.
It's like, you want me only because I'm black, or only because you want to try some different person, not the average person,
Exactly. Now, I will say this, going off what you said, I do think that there are people that find us absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, of course.
You can feel it. You can feel, like, I think I told you about last week when I was in the elevator.
Yeah.
And the lady just kind of, like, looked at me, and I'm like, I'm like, let's not make eye contact. Like, I don't want to, do anything. And she kind of, like, touched me and was like, you're just so beautiful. And it happened again today is, what was that, Saturday? Last Saturday or Sunday? Last Saturday it happened again. And I went to this exposition. It was a small exposition here in Mexico. And it was three guys. And I put that shit on. Like, I put it on. Like, I came in, I had my pea coat on my shoulders. I did that. So, and I came in, and, I just was, like, listening and everything. These are older women, too, all these women that are approaching me. So, as she comes out, and for people that don't speak Spanish, I've said it in English, she's like, thank your mother and thank your grandparents. I was like, she was like, you are beautiful. Like, you are a beautiful man. And I was like, thank you so much. And she made me blush. But that's why I tell people, I don't care what white people say about us. I don't care how they feel about us, because I know we're beautiful, you know, and
Yes.
I don't think that takes away from anything what other cultures, other races feel about themselves. I just know that we're a beautiful group of people, you know, and
Yes.
that's not because I'm biased because I'm black. If I wasn't black, I would be like, that's a beautiful group of fucking people. You know, like let me just be honest. That's a beautiful group of people. I want to ask you two more questions before we get out of here.
Go ahead.
Have you ever directly, as an adult, dealt with racism face to face?
Face to face. Um, Face to face, I think. Yeah, once with the police, I think not something hard. No, it's
Right.
like chill. But when I was in the car,
Okay.
I'm driving, and the police see me. Is like, okay, stop the car
Right.
right there, and it's like ID, um, and you know the
The
stuff.
things, yeah.
Yeah, and okay, he looks and okay, show me the back of the car. Okay, everything good, all right. And he started me like, you look like you are a conflicted person, you know.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like he started me like, yeah, the feeling is like, damn, it's like no, I'm
Right.
good. Yeah, so they look at me and I didn't say nothing because it's like it's not the plan of that.
Okay.
They let me
Let you go. Okay.
yeah. This is only face to face.
Okay.
Sometimes I heard things behind me like, oh, a black people, say a black person, grab your
Grab your
bag
bag.
or something like that. You know, you notice that type of things because for example, the other day I was in the shopping center and it's like me and another lady in the front of me, and I work with my AirPods, you know, and when she noticed that I'm behind her, she likes, okay, I'm gonna bring sweep my bag, like, because I think he's gonna rob me or something.
Right.
Like, no, man.
I think stuff like that is so funny.
Yeah, for me it's funny. I
It's
know
so
it's
funny.
funny.
I laugh.
Yeah.
Especially, it hasn't happened to me. Maybe it happened in Spain. It hasn't happened in. No, yeah, it happened here in Mexico before. But I was looking like a little bum that day. I didn't have a haircut.
Okay.
So I didn't even trip off the lady doing it. But she was like a tourist. She wasn't even like a Mexican woman. She did it. But it was so funny because like I'm like going to the gym, but I'm like rough. No, you know, I didn't shave or anything like that. And I laughed at it. And I remember shaking my head. And she kind of looked at me because I pulled out my Gucci sunglasses. And she like looked, and I was like, looked down at her like, you have on Calvin Klein. Move out my way. Like we're not the same. Like I'm not even trying to be funny, but if you want to pull your little Calvin Klein bag, I can pull my Gucci as well. Like stop playing. And I'm not even a person like that, but sometimes I tell people you have to pop your shit to let people know like stop playing. And I think that's a thing that maybe because of the racial things that they've done to us, we move up in life and we get more money and we kind of show our money a little bit. So some people think it's tacky, but I don't. I think it kind of lets people know like you may think that the playing field is not even, but I may have more money than you. And I've had to tell people that before. Like you may be acting weird, but I'm pretty sure I have more money than you and you're white. So
when I talk with my friends, I always say that the world don't give a shit about you or me.
no.
I like we are not afford the luxury to be in average.
Exactly.
So we want to work 10 times as hard just to get anywhere.
We have to. And I think that's what people don't understand is some people may view things like, why do you need this, or why do you want that, and I'm like, because I don't get to be normal like you. I have to be better than you, because this is how the world is set up. This is how they've set the world up, is that if I'm normal, I'm basically poor. I'm nothing. So I have to be damn near Michael Jordan, Kobe, OBJ. I have to be up there in these ways, because that's the only way that you're going to give us respect. Is that, oh, you're different. Oh, and we're not different. Jordan is no different than me. OBJ is no different than me. We're all the same. But for some reason, when we get more money, when we get more success, that's when people kind of look like, oh, you're different. And I'm just here to let everybody know that sees this video, we're not different. I will never change, no matter how much money I get. I will still be black. I will still love black people. I will still support black people all my life. That's never going to change. That's just who I am. That's just who it is. Being that ending the interview, I always give everybody a chance to let go of one thing. But you only can use one word. So you are going to be the person that sets this trend of letting go one thing. So you pick your word, I'll pick my word. And what's one thing you want to let go of?
You're the interviewer, so go first.
If I had to let go of anything, self-doubt.
Ooh.
Self-doubt. I want us to like pop our shit. Like, I want black people to start understanding that we are the center. We are the creators. And if you walk in a room and you're in Madrid and everybody looks around because you're the only black person, now you have an audience. So give them what the fuck they came for. Look good, smell good, be everything that they thought you couldn't be, because why not? Because we're the real stars. And that's just how I feel. So self-doubt would be mine.
Okay. I will say a word. It's relation about you, about your word. It's like average.
Average, okay.
Okay, because it's like imagine you are doing a boxing fight, but the difference is we don't have breaks between rounds. But if you have a good, strong mentality and good mental health, you can ring the bell and you can be your own coach and say, watching the side, what did you do right? You're missing that. So go ahead, go back and kill it.
Good
That means that.
Well, Aiman, thank you again for today. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for watching. More of these interviews to come, just about different experiences again, to teach people that, in the words of Kamala Harris, we have more in common than we have apart, that we have difference. And most people will try to push us away, saying that he's Moroccan, I'm American, or he's Egyptian and he's Nigerian, and saying that we don't have the same shared experience, when in actuality we do. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Until next time, nos vemos pronto.
Nos vemos.
See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Very